We're now going to swap back to our like add clear setup and our boss damage setup. My recommendations for weapons, obviously two S tier recommendations, are the Striga SMG, which uses poison damage. When you get kills or you get precision hits on targets, it spreads poison to other targets. And then the Witherhoard exotic grenade launcher, which you could just shoot at your feet and it will take out all of the enemies charging you. And when there's no enemies close on you, you can just use it on the boss. And it also, if you get the catalyst, it also has auto-loading holster, so you can use that in combination with an auto-loading rocket very effectively. Now, for this slot here, I recommend using a rocket with auto-loading. You can use any other power weapons that you enjoy, but rockets with auto-loading holster are very effective for this type of strategy that we're doing, playing cover, and it allows you to use your exotic slot in a different area. Now, when it comes to add clear, if you don't have these two weapons, the Striga and the Witherhoard, I would recommend using something like a wave frame grenade launcher, because you can shoot that at your feet and all of the enemies in front of you will either get heavily damaged or just die. Or something like incandescent, which will spread, burn damage, scorch to a bunch of different enemies when you kill enemies with it. And then another option here is Volt Shot, which does the same kind of thing for arc, except it spreads jolt to enemies after you kill an enemy and reload. So obviously incandescent is a little bit better because you don't have to reload, but if you use Volt Shot in combination with, arc supers, you can do that very well. You can use incandescent in combination with solar supers, or you can just use it on its own. For a special weapon, honestly, whatever kind of special weapon works for you and the build that you're going for. There's like 14 billion different DLCs in Destiny. I have no idea what DLCs you guys have or what weapons you have access to. I'm just speaking in generalities here, and just get something that's good for add clear and you're comfortable with for the enemies that are going to rush you. And then, something on other types of weapons that you can use for boss damage. As for your super or which particular class you should play, that's completely up to you and what you're comfortable with. I like the Void Titan because it gives me Void Overshields, and the way that I do it with my build, I build around getting my abilities faster. All of my different armor pieces here use different abilities to reduce the cooldown of my other abilities, so I constantly have my abilities up, so I can constantly take advantage of my vortex grenades and, my shield throws and my Titan barricade. Now, whatever build you are using, I'm just providing spots that we can all use for every build, and with most different weapon types to give you guys, just a base to work from, and you can kind of feel out what is comfortable for you and make additions or slight changes if you need to. So as soon as you go through these doors here, the encounter does start. So make sure that you swap your weapons and that you hit this ammo crate here to get max ammo in all of your weapons. So for this one here, your class abilities and the things that you have are going to kind of dictate how you play here. I play around my barricade because I'm a Titan. If you are a warlock, then you'll be playing around your rift and the cover of the pillars. And if you're a hunter, then you'll be playing around whatever mechanics you have, whether that be invisibility, whether that be the playing with knives from the solar, whether that is, a healing nade from solar, or some of the arc stuff. I don't know too much about the arc hunters, but you'll be playing cover, you'll be playing maybe invisibility around these pillars. So the main boss will spawn, and for the most part, he kind of stays away from you and tries to damage you from afar, and there are a ton of minions that spawn too. However, he will slowly work his way towards you, and at one point he may actually sprint towards you, at which point you will obviously need to run away to a different part of the room and play one of the 4 pillars for cover. Now, for the regular ads, I think they are orange bar enemies, so they're not like, they're not pushovers, but they're not anything crazy. You're just going to use your add clear weapons on them, and we're going to play around our super and our class abilities here as best we can, again while using the 4 pillars. So these are the 4 pillars that I'm talking about. You can play them close down here if you need to play different angles and take out some of the different enemies. So we can see that the boss is over here pushing me a little bit. Now he's backing up. I'm just going to focus some of this add clear. He's going to push around the side, so I'm going to push to the other side of the room here. I managed to get all of the little ads together in the middle and was able to take them out with my ad clear weapon and a nade. So now before the next wave of those little guys spawn, I do have an opportunity here to damage the boss. So I am going to take that opportunity, use my heavy, and spam him out with my poison rounds here. Be careful of that nade as it does hurt. We're going to go through. He's going to use his barricade. We're going to hit him with some more poison rounds to get the poison tick damage going. We'll go to cover here, and we can fight these new enemies as they spawn in to get control of our little section. We saw that 3 enemies just spawned in on that section, and they keep spawning in on the same spot for some reason. Can throw my nade in the middle again. Again, if it's getting a little too crazy, I can use my super to stay alive. We're just using the ad clear weapon here to get rid of all of these enemies. We're going to focus on some boss damage for a second here. We're going to try to get our poison damage on him again. If you had something like a wither, you could focus on the wither as well. You can see that he is full sprinting at me here. So we're just going to run away. And eventually he does stop after the full sprint for a second. Now he's full sprinting at me again. Just going to do some more damage to him. It does look like only 1 secondary group of enemies spawned there for me. I've never had it take longer than 2 secondary, like 2 groups of the, trash ads to spawn. So hopefully you guys don't make it to a 3rd. Hopefully you guys take them out in that section there. But as you can see, I didn't need to specifically play these pillars for cover as much because I do have the overshields from both my throwing ability here that gives me overshields, and so does my barricade here. So because of that, I didn't need to specifically play down in these sections and play cover and angles. But if you're on a hunter or if you're on a warlock, you could put your rift down behind one of these pillars and you could play in and out of the cover here while in your healing rift. And if you're a hunter, you could use whatever you have, your dodge, your invis, worm husk, anything that you have to work around these pillars and to do damage to the boss and the trash ads that spawn in as well. Now, if I was to do this again, I would play the corner like I did before, but when the second wave of trash ads goes to spawn, I would just throw my nade on it and I would have my grenade ready so that they kept spawning in this area so I could just farm them out easily. And I could also throw some grenades in the middle for all the ones that stacked up in the middle there. Now, after you open this first door, after the boss fight with your operator augment, there will be some enemies in this room that you can fight. But once you hit this second one, we're going to run back out to the boss room here. And we're just going to take out all of these shanks that spawn here so they don't come in close quarters in there and completely annihilate us.